We're coming to you live. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Spitball Media Podcast. This is your weekly look where we spit out the top entertainment stories each and every week. I'm Dungeon John. My name is John Draper. And with me, of course, is all the way from Planet Mondo himself, Mr. Shaheen, the Prince of Philly, born and raised. Shah, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm glad it's not as cold as I expected it to be because I'm enjoying this. It feels like fall.
And it's February. It's
Yeah.
unusual. Yeah, Northeast is unusual warm. And of course, you know him, you love him. The hard-hitting Prince of the Midwest, Mr. Bisho Bryan. Bisho Bryan, is it warmer in the Midwest?
It was like 53 and sunny today, man. It was
Oh,
nice.
my God. Wow. Not exactly February weather out there in Ohio, is it?
No, not exactly. It's nice though, because it's been going from like, I think it was 1 degree to like a week and a half ago with a wind chill of -15. So I'll take
Yeah.
52 any day.
Yeah, Shah, did you get that below zero in Philly there?
We got a snowstorm about a week ago.
Yeah.
But that lasted for about 3 days, the cold. And now we're back to like 40s, maybe the tops, like mid-40s, almost 50.
Okay. Well, wherever you are, we appreciate you checking us out. If you're joining us for the first time, please consider going to patreon.com/Spitball Media. For $5 a month, you get hundreds, maybe even 1,000+ hours at this point of exclusive content, going all the way back to Break the Apocalypse Days, solo shows, the very, very coveted question and answer shows making the comeback this month. Shah, they can still afford it. It's the only thing left that they have.
$5 a month, man. You can't fucking beat it. Join it right now. 1,000, probably like 1,500 hours.
Probably.
I'd feel confident saying that.
Yeah, Bisho, what do you think? Probably about 1,500 like exclusive content hours there, including you just dropped a bomb a couple of days ago for the Patreon regarding this whole Vincent Kennedy McMahon porn scandal going on.
You know, it took I keep saying it took lives off my years, but it took years off my life doing that show, man. It was fucking rough because let me lay it out. So when we first heard about it, I might have mentioned this on the Patreon for those who haven't seen it yet. When we were talking about like the sex toy stuff, I had an idea that I was going to pitch to you guys where we go through like a Lover's Lane website and we just scroll random sex toys and try to name them after what we think they'd be named if it was a wrestler name, right? The description or how it looks. And then I read through the actual criminal complaint that was filed. No, it immediately was like, it sucked all the life out of me for like 2 days. And
yeah,
there were so many podcasters talking about like the Wall Street Journal article for the first few days and kind of glossing over the surface level shit. Once I read into it, I'm like, no, dude, there's so much more to this story than anyone's talking about. And people are starting to talk about it now. But if you want a deep dive on the summary and some interesting thoughts that I tied to other things that have happened in wrestling over the years, subscribe to patreon.com/Spitball Media.
Yeah, and it's only $5, Shot. It's going to be a price fix, unlike, say, a dollar menu in some of our famous fast food chains here in the United States.
Yeah, I honestly don't think dollar menus exist anymore. Because a hash brown is like $3.50 now.
$3.50?
Yeah, McDonald's.
Wait a minute, are you saying that $3.50?
Yeah,
that's
exactly what I'm saying, sir.
Good Lord, $3.50. My God, my wife got my wife got one of those Impossible Whopper meals the other day, and I think she said it was like $10. I don't know how the fuck that's possible. It didn't look like a lot of food, but you know what is a lot of food? B-Show, our library for the Patreon family that we have.
Yeah, man, that's enough to satisfy even late comedian John Panett's appetite. There's shit on there about entertainment, old stuff about politics. We chronicled the COVID days and the madness that was for a while. So there's
which is
a
when we
bit of
started.
everything.
We started at literally the height of COVID, guys. It's wild to think about. Like the country was in fucking. I think it was right before the election. Actually, my God, that's a long time ago. Jesus, Chuck, can you believe that? We were here for the previous Trump administration.
Yeah, that's how we started out, man.
Jesus Christ.
I don't miss those days though. Every day was bad news.
Yeah, but all we have around here is entertainment news, and we have a special event lined up for tonight. But just a quick program note: since B-Show dropped an exclusive bomb there the other day, we're not going to be doing a bonus Patreon show tonight. Mini show. We are ever going to be doing the question and answer, Shah. This is a long time coming. You've been waiting 4 months for this Q&A show.
4 months and some change. My favorite show.
Favorite show. So please consider going to patreon.com. And of course, thank you to the returning champions each and every month. And hopefully we'll get that Q&A out tonight, if not probably by tomorrow morning or sometime in the color of night. Now, we do want to touch on a couple of entertainment stories before we get into the big shoe. Tonight, we're going 90s, people. 90s. A couple weeks ago, we did a full 80s takedown of some classics in different genres, and it took a motherfucking long time. So last week, of course, was the big Oscar announcements. A lot of news there. Sometimes, the entertainment gods giveth, and sometimes they don't give it the shit. But there's a couple things we wanted to touch on tonight. Just a couple small, brief little stories in the entertainment world going around. First and foremost, Beetlejuice. They have an announcement date for the release of Beetlejuice and the name of the sequel, B-Show. And pretty cool news. Obviously, a lot of people knew that they were shooting it. They knew it was coming out. But a lot of people thought it was going to be called Beetlejuice 2 B-Show, but that is not the case, correct?
No, and even if it is technically, they're stylistically listing it on the poster, as you can see. If you're listening, you can always go to YouTube and check us out at Spitball Media and follow along in video format there. So for those here in the chat and watching at home, here's the poster. The wait is almost over. He's got the waiting room tape 9/6/2024, and the stylized title is Beetlejuice, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, we don't know, Shah, if this is PG or PG-13. I'm going to have to say it's going to be PG-13. Don't you think, Shah?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the original was PG-13, right?
It's so long ago. Honestly, I don't even know. B-Show the original has to be PG-13. It's got like a lot of slightly off-color jokes, a lot of dead stuff.
Grabs his dick, nice fucking model, that type of shit.
That's right. That's right.
I think so. I don't see anything for sure.
Yeah, they haven't announced it yet. But coming back, of course, is Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, claiming their roles there. Winona Ryder is now playing an adult version of her previous character, and her daughter is none other than Wednesday herself, the little cutie Jenna Ortega, like we're friends. Jenna Ortega. Like we hang out. Like, yeah, me and Jenny were there.
My girl, little J, that's
she's
what I
a
call
cute
her.
kid. I like her a lot. Now, I will say this: I am excited for it. I am a fan, but I'm a little concerned that it's going to be spewed in modern sort of, nonsense. I have a feeling it's going to be a little too 2020-ish. Shah, what do you think? Do you think Beetlejuice is immune because Beetlejuice is just such a specific story, or do you think we're going to be able to tell this was made this year?
I think Michael Keaton is going to look the same. The only thing that's probably going to throw it off is the overall tone to the movie. Because, I mean, back then everything was practical effects. You look at the dragon he turns on. I mean, everything is like almost claymation type. Whereas now, the movie, it's going to have a completely different look. Even, I mean, you look at the poster. The original poster is an actual photograph of them. This is completely digital. Already, look at the hands, which I like the old school version, I'd appreciate it more if they just took pictures of his real hands, because it's not like he wasn't in character already. They shot the fucking movie. Just take pictures of his hands. Like, I don't know. I don't like the poster at all. I'm excited for this movie though.
B-Show, your thoughts? You're a Beetlejuice fan. Are we going to get a virtue signaling Beetlejuice sequel, or laden in digital special effects that look like they were made in the Marvel world, or can we count on Tim Burton, the characters, to be kind of more in just the vein of what he does, creepy, gothic, practical kind of style, special effects, things like that?
I hope so, but like I watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and that movie's all CG and it's terrible. There was something, it's whimsical and like otherworldly as Beetlejuice was. No, I mean, if you look at the set,
it's true. It is a whimsical. That is a great word, actually, to use for Beetlejuice.
It had a certain character to it, but it was also kind of grounded and somewhat terrestrial. Like in a weird universe, like you could see this actually existing. You could feel it. You could touch it. You know what I mean?
Well, it's very gothy because of Winona Ryder too, and the time period. Like, you know what I mean? She's super gothy, and the look of it is that Tim Burton tint. Very, very bright, weird green, orange, like those kind of colors, muted a little bit.
And like the one scene where they come into the house and Delia has redone the entire house. Like the floor and the walls are textured. It's not just like, oh, hey, it's painted. It's like like there's texture all over the place. There's
Mm.
everything. Like I said, it has a certain weight to it, and I hope it's not all CG shit. But
I hope so too.
um,
I'm
and
optimistic. I'm not shitting on it. I'm cautiously optimistic. Quick shout out to our buddy Chris Matthews, Joe Punches, Kevco. Joe Punches is saying that both Tim Burton and Jenna Ortega have came out saying they're using a ton of practical effects. So Shah, I think that's what a lot of people I think our concerns are not unique. I think a lot of people want to see that old school practical special effects Tim Burton style, big Danny Elfman soundtrack. So maybe it'll deliver, right?
Yeah, I'm actually excited to hear that. I didn't know they were going to use any practical effects because
Mhm.
that honestly, that's a surprise to me, dude.
Well,
But
I mean, Tim Burton does
looks
like
fun.
his models, things like that. I think we'll get a better poster. None of this is real, by the way. All this B show is
no,
all fake.
there
Yeah,
was
it's
a
all fake.
trailer that was circulating too, but that's not real either. It's a fan
No,
made
it's
thing.
not. Yeah, the one with Jenna Elfman, where Jenna Elfman, I'm calling her now. I went from Jenny Ortega to Jenna
Jenna
Elfman.
Elfman, that's 90s
She's got
shit,
a
man.
horse face. She's got a little bit of a horse face. Nice body, but a horse face.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some ones like you could tell. I'm excited. Look, I'm a fan. I loved Wednesday with Tim Burton. I don't like the latter Tim Burton stuff that much, but we'll be checking it out for sure. I'm sure we'll be doing a pretty deep dive when that actually comes out. That comes out in September. Long way to go, but I'm sure we'll get sort of a hard trailer. Maybe in a month or two. I'm sure the summer promotions for that are going to be off the chain. Another big news today: Quentin Tarantino has announced the star of his final film. He has been very forthright in saying that he has one film left and he is done. And I firmly believe that. I think he's someone, unlike a lot of other people in the industry, he stands on his convictions. Obviously, Quentin Tarantino is known for his style, his innovative style. I mean, he's just probably one of the. I mean, Shah, maybe easily 5 living Tarantino's on that list, don't you think? Right now, currently.
I mean, honestly, he's definitely in my top 5.
Mm.
You
Living.
know,
I'm stressing living, by the way. I don't want anybody.
well, for me, I
Oh,
would say living or dead, just personally.
yeah.
But
I mean, his body of work. I think. I mean, he's. I don't know. I don't know who can match up against him in the modern world, other than maybe like a Spielberg or who's way older. Who's been around a lot longer. But yeah, Beep Show. You think top 5 Tarantino, right? It's got to be 21st century.
Yeah, I mean, even if he isn't as recognized as some, like it's like Star Trek, The Next Generation.
Mm.
Um, he has had so much influence on other people and young filmmakers and just
Oh
very
gosh.
innovative in his approach. Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Yeah, he's made careers. He brought back careers. He's changed the trajectory of a lot of people's careers. His use of music, style, dialogue. His cinematic sort of vibe is it's a staple. Anyway, this is his last film, and it's going to be called The Movie Critic. And the star is announced. It will be Brad Pitt. Probably not a huge surprise to a lot of people. He was saying he wanted somebody in their 30s to play this character. But Brad Pitt has had quite the bit of run with him the last couple of films. So it's really not a big shock that maybe he would close out his career with an A-lister like Brad Pitt.
yeah, him and Brad Pitt, I like that team. It's almost like Scorsese and DiCaprio. Um,
Interesting. Wow.
yeah, I like when those guys team up. So I'm definitely excited for this, man. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that was a fucking banger. So
Yeah. I regret, like, when I saw it in theaters, I didn't get the vibe that well. And then I saw it right after on cable and I fell in love with it again. B Show, what are you thinking about this with Brad Pitt? Obviously, Brad Pitt can do anything. He's kind of he's a embodiment A-lister actor there for a long time. But closing out with Brad Pitt, I expect just a colossal overall film, colossal performance, and a 6 supporting cast here.
Yeah, I actually kind of surprised. I thought it was going to be a Barbie style sweeping epic about feet or something like that for
That
his
would be
last hurrah.
interesting. Yeah, he likes feet.
Yeah. But no, this should be good, man. Like you said, he has a way of just putting all those elements together like a fucking nice like a nice dish at a restaurant. Just sprinkles in certain music that seems to hit well.
Oh, his
Um,
music choice, my God. I mean,
yeah, his casting choices are strange, but they work out.
mm.
Like how many people in some of his movies, even like Kill Bill, that he use not obscure people, but like people who weren't necessarily A or B
Well,
listers.
yeah, David Carradine was not exactly lighting the world on fire there in his career at that
Yeah, wasn't
point.
he doing kung fu or something like that at that
Well,
time?
that was 30 years early. He was doing a lot of made-for-video movies, and he brought in the guy who played the sword maker was a big '80s Sonny Chiba. You got fucking Sonny Chiba in a fucking high blockbuster movie. Look, the guy's great. I'm a super fan. I think we're all fans. I've never met anybody who doesn't get Tarantino, whether they were like my father's age or younger. But it'll be interesting to see how he works out there. By the way, Chris Matthews is asking about Ghostbusters Frozen trailer. Yeah, I think Frozen Empire. We covered it, I think, even last week. And Chris Matthews is saying his 5 is Spielberg, Scorsese, Tarantino, John Woo. That's a good little list there for living. And of course, shout out to Norab Nibrock joining us there in the chat room. He likes M. Night. I like M. Night too. I think M. Night gets a bad rap, Shah, don't you think? Sometimes I think people like to just shit on that guy.
Yeah, but he wouldn't even be in my top 10 though. Honestly.
Yeah, he might not be in my top 10 either.
No, because he's got so many misses. It's almost 50-50, if not more misses than hits.
Like a dramatic Kevin Smith in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but just shittier, because Kevin Smith at least Kevin Smith, he's at least consistent with the same type of movie,
True.
Except I guess Clerks 3, that kind of took a turn.
Oh my God, I can't.
That wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be, but for the most part, you know what you're getting into. With M. Night, man, I mean, he goes from The Sixth Sense and Unbreakable and Signs to
The Lady
even the Devil. I like the Elevator movie. I like that one.
Yeah, he produced that, right?
Yeah, no, he made
I don't know if he directed that Devil. Are you sure he directed Devil?
I'm almost positive he did. Yeah.
Yeah, he directed Devil. I thought he produced it. I like that movie. I thought it was okay. People were either super into it. Wow, I don't know if he actually did that. Kevco TV is saying big Rian Johnson fan. Yeah, he's good. Of course, Norab Nibrock saying Stanley Kubrick. Of course, we're talking mostly living. Wow, he did Devil. Okay. He's 50-50 with me. Where are you on M. Night there, B Show? Meh.
I do think it's unfair. Like one of his first big movies was one of the biggest original meme movies of all time.
Jesus.
So to go from that to whatever he did after, I don't remember. Was it Signs? Was that the next?
He did Unbreakable as his second movie.
That's
I think
right.
Signs was his third, and Unbreakable was a bomb, but I fucking loved it. As a comic book person, you're not going to get me to shit on Unbreakable anytime soon.
Yeah, so I think he had some good ones, but I think the bar was set high, and I also think after doing The Sixth Sense, people expected him to be doing horror movies with a twist.
Every time
he stepped out of that box, people shit on it, whether it was good or not. So
yeah, I think his biggest miss, Lady in the Water, is not very good, but his biggest miss is that the movie where the plants are trying to kill us, and Wahlberg is like, "What about the bees?
Oh, the Happening."
Bees." Oh wow, that could have been fucking amazing, but Wahlberg miscast, and then the ending is just it's plants trying to kill us. I don't know. It could have been better. I don't know. Could have been better. But Joe Punches likes all three, so I think he likes maybe one of those movies. But and of course, Kevco is saying same curse Jordan Peele has. Everything will be compared to his first film. Absolutely. And Tarantino, guys, let's not forget Tarantino. Everybody, after Reservoir Dogs, which was sort of a small art house film, he came out with Pulp Fiction, which was just like a groundbreaking, changed the culture with A-listers and return people and people you never heard of before. But it'll be interesting. Look, it doesn't come out until 2025. It will be his last film. Just real quick before we move on, guys, do you think it's his last film for real? I'm going on the record saying I believe him. He seems like he's got a lot of integrity. Shah, last film, or is he full of shit?
Last film for probably like a decade. I can see him getting bored and coming back.
Not young. He's 60.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
like late 50s.
Still though, Scorsese is like 84 and still making movies.
Not everybody lives to be in their 80s, though.
That's true.
He's loaded on pasta and gabagool. B-Show, do you believe him? I really feel like if this guy says something, he does. I don't know. I feel like it would hurt his legacy a little bit if he just goes, I'm going to do Barbie too. Which it would never happen, but
But she can't wear shoes the whole time. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like he came out really hard. I want to feel like he'll do the CM Punk thing and say I'm gone, and then he'll come back like Frosty the Snowman. But
CM Punk.
No, man. He came out and he made a pretty hard stance of once you reach a certain age, you've experienced all you're going to experience about life to be able to tell about it and tell your stories. So I could see him wanting to come back at some point 10, 20 years down the road just to say he can still do it.
That would be something.
But no, I don't. I think he's done.
Shah, imagine him like 10 years after 2025. It's 2035. He's like 68 or something going, yeah, I'm going to do another. I'm going to do Kill Bill 3.
That's what I'm saying. I can see him missing it. And also, I can see cinema being highly disappointing to him. Because probably a lot of it is going to be AI by then. I can see them
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
make a return just to kind of give an old school
Com-
kick back to cinema, but
Yeah, like
who
a
knows, man?
classic
Could you
style.
imagine how awesome that would be if it's all shit AI movies and then he comes out at
He
like age
comes out.
65 and does a banger?
Yeah, like it's nothing. Shout out to Mr. Isaacs and Slave Cheeks hanging out with us in there as well. Evening to you, gentlemen. Yeah, Slave Cheeks mentioned I think it was Slave Cheeks. Somebody said he was supposed to be doing a Star Trek movie. That was Kevco, I think. That would have been fun. I can't even imagine him doing a Star Trek movie. I can't even fucking imagine. That being said, there is one last piece of news we want to get to. Me and Shah super excited about this piece of news. The great Larry David Curb, the final season airs this weekend on HBO. High expectations. I don't. When you talk about somebody who never changes, somebody who delivers on his style. Shah, I think Larry David for his particular style. I mean, there's really nobody like Larry David. There's going to be nothing like Curb ever again. We were really kind of lucky to be alive when this guy put this fucking thing together. I'm sorry, I'm a super fan. Shah, what are you thinking about the final Curb?
I can't express my excitement, dude. It's like one of my favorite shows of all time. Probably my favorite show, actually. If I have to, choose one.
Wow.
If I have to choose one show to watch for the rest of my life, it's Curb, man. Makes me sad though, dude. I don't want to see Larry go because he's just. I don't know, man. I get so excited when there's a new season, and for this to be the last one, it just truly breaks my heart, dude. Because like Always Sunny's still going. I love that show.
Yeah, very true.
And this is the
Family
other
Guy,
one.
25 years, Family Guy, just quietly. South Park, right? I mean, it's amazing to think that these have been around that long.
We're talking about Quentin Tarantino coming back in 10 years. Do you see Larry David coming back in 10 years, if he's even here in 10 years?
I don't think he's 76. I don't know like what else he has to prove. Sean, let me ask you a question. Is he like one of these dudes, like as soon as you see him, you just kind of like start laughing because you just know like it's coming? Like when the show starts, you just immediately like I feel like whenever I hear that music and I see him, kind of like Curb is for a lot of people, I'm ready. Like I'm in it. Like, you don't need to warm me up. You don't need to butter me up. I'm good. Like I know I'm going to enjoy it. Like as soon as you hear that music, you're going to be like, and you see him walking around in his khakis, right? Like you catch a vibe, right?
Yeah, and his show is adapted to the times, dude. Like it's really impressive. If you go back to the early ones, because he's been around doing the show for what, almost 20 years now?
I think he said that's it's 12 seasons. It takes like 2 or 3 years. It could be over
1999, I think.
Oh, 25 fucking years.
Because
No,
I think
he
they
said
took a break for a
26
while, right?
because he did the mini movie, the movie version, which was a fake hour movie, which if you've never seen it, it's great, of him doing stand up, which predated the show. So that was 26 years ago. Jesus. Wow. B-Show, your thoughts on the final Curb?
It's sad, but like it's almost like when Seinfeld ended, like it's hard to say he's ending on a high note because it's been 26 years. But the shows, like the past 2 or 3 seasons, have been like one of the few TV shows that I actually look forward to it coming back.
They've been great.
And honestly, too, like you mentioned Sunny. I went back and I binged the first 2 or 3 seasons of Sunny. And I was wondering, like, I loved that show so much when it first came out, and I watched all the shows, but I couldn't really remember more than like 2 bits for some reason. And going back and watching it again, I kind of feel like I get why. It's like the shows are funny and the concept's cool, but after a while, it just kind of goes like, I don't know. If you watch Curb, you can go back to season 1 Curb when it's shot in old standard,
Oh yeah,
format, and it's on like a high 8 handheld.
He's married.
And shit. Yeah, like that. It's still good and it still holds up, whether some other shows do or don't. So I like to see it go out on a high note when it's still really good and entertaining. But yeah, it's sad to see him go.
Yeah, and Shah, Kevco TV brings us up. There was an 8-year hiatus for Curb. Can you believe that? My God,
was there?
That's what he's saying. I mean, we haven't G-checked any of this. We're live on the air. We don't have time for this. But.
Yeah, I mean, I've probably watched it for the last 12 years, maybe.
Yeah, and you've seen you've seen them.
Oh, I've seen them multiple times. Yeah, dude, I love Larry, dude. That's
you know what? Maybe we'll do, guys, when it ends. Maybe we'll do a little retrospective of Curb. Now, listen, a lot of people are pressuring me to replace Larry. It looks like it's going to happen. I'll have sort of like the similarities are endless. A lot of people think I'm 76, B show. So this kind of just the transition for me would be seamless at this point.
Would you be willing to grow the hair out in the back?
I'm gonna do it for Halloween. Yeah, I'm gonna do it for Halloween for sure. And then we're gonna do a whole episode with me basically as Larry doing Larry. But we love Larry here. Most people I know love Larry. And Slave Cheeks, if you haven't seen the last 2 seasons, binge. You'll have a great time. You'll have an excellent time. But we're gonna
Him
move
trying
away.
to fuck the head of
I'm
the
sorry.
condo association and
Yeah, he's
all that.
banging Tracy Ullman now. He's like this old nebbishy lady, like that, he doesn't really like, but he's just like whatever. And one thing I will say this before we move on. I don't know why I didn't put this together, Shah. I was a little floored to see that he was 76. Were you surprised? Like, I don't know how old I thought he was, but 76 was not on my radar, Shah.
Yeah, same with me. I just assumed he's one of those guys that always just looked old. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't aged in my eyes for like 20 years.
Go on.
So
Yes.
yeah, it's kind of surprising. I didn't realize he was 55 when he, or 50 when he started doing the show.
But B show, this is me. See, here we go. He was 50. See, this is all. It's right in
you
itself.
actually took over him,
I can't do it with Larry David. I was gonna say just hitting my stride, baby. But
I mean, look, it would be a pretty seamless transition. Pretty seamless. And Kevco's correcting himself. 2011 to 2017 was the hiatus. So that's 6 years. That's a very motherfucking long time. But yeah, it's only a half-hour show if you get to binge it. So I'm excited. I'm sure we'll be talking about this next week. But funny, I was on the phone with Mike from the Necromaniacs podcast, who's from the same vagina that I'm from, actually. And we were talking about when I said, "Oh, we're going to do a genre specific on for the show," and we talked about the '90s, and I had said to him, "Wow, I didn't realize that the '90s, not genre specific, but just in general, how just like it was like a musical and cultural sort of like revolution going on there, cinematically, the '90s." Again, I'm not speaking about a genre, I'm talking about overall. There is some brilliant things that happened cinematically in the '90s. We're talking about apex people like a Tarantino, the height of Kevin Smith, some pretty goddamn fucking good Spike Lee movies, Robert Rodriguez,
John Singleton,
John Woo. Like we got action movies, Schwarzenegger, huge, Stallone still carrying movies. Like if you go from 90 to 2000, my brother was more telling me about how he thinks for horror, Shah, maybe one of the worst decades of maybe ever in the history of horror, like literally ever. Now, before we get into picks, I want to ask you guys about that. Would you say possibly '90s is the worst horror genre of all time?
I would say '90s was the worst, probably in cinema history.
That's what
for everything. Everything really, other than comedies. I think some of the best comedies came out in the '90s.
Well, what about like Pulp Fiction and fucking?
Yeah, but those are far in between. I mean, if you look at, because it was a weird point. Those movies in the '90s don't age well because the movies from the '80s, it's practical effects. We look at it; it has some charm. You forgive it a lot, Whereas the '90s, they started using CGI, but it didn't age well. It just looks like shit. So a lot of the horror movies, it's hard to go back and watch them, especially like on 4K and everything has been restored. Yeah, it looks even worse,
Yeah. He says horror is the worst. '90s, absolute dog shit, especially coming out of the '80s. Shah agrees. B-Show, I have a feeling you're going to agree because really that was when a lot of these franchises sort of fell apart, like the 3 or 4 focal franchises, and I think we all know the ones I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look culturally, like if you look at, I hate saying zeitgeist because people say it now, but like slashers hit and it was pretty raw during the '80s. And then it started getting kind of haha because it ran its cycle and it started to kind of parody itself. And then that continued into the early '90s into what I call like that whole period is like the Young Bucks of horror movies, for a second wrestling reference tonight, where like they were making shitty horror movies, knowing they were making shitty horror movies to kind of goof on the industry, but still trying to say, hey, this is a horror movie. And I don't like that. I like horror comedy, but I don't like, hey, look how shitty we can make this movie. So
yeah, that's an interesting point.
Like Sharknado, stuff like that. Like that's what.
Well, that was the 2000s, but I'm saying like I do want to before we move into our picks for some hot picks and categories. I didn't do this dive, but Shah, are you a B show? I should have asked Mike, but as far as outside of America, was the 90s shitty for like Italian horror and like was it shitty across the board, you think?
I think a lot of it slowed down in the 90s. You look at most of the Italian horror movies, they're from the 80s.
That's true.
And
70s some too.
yeah, and the Asian movies, they started to really just come out like late 90s into the 2000s, you know, like Tetsuo, and what was that other one with the spiral like signs everywhere?
I'm trying to remember. Manuel Rojas is bringing up Kronos. That's what's his face?
Uzumaki.
Kronos. Who the fuck did Kronos? Is that Guillermo del Toro's first movie?
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, with the thing on the bug. Yeah, that's a cool movie, actually. Yeah, I think that was the 90s. But, the 90s had a lot of prominence in terms of pop culture things like a Forrest Gump, and that kind of stuff could have only really happened, I think, in the 90s. Titanic, I think, was late 90s, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not a big pop culture
like
movie person.
Yeah,
those kind of things took place. But we're talking about 90s genre-specific gems that we find that we go back to even in this sort of time period where we've kind of been spoiled, especially the last bunch of years. So I want to get right to the horror if we can for 90s. If you guys got 3 picks. Now I have 3 picks. One of these picks, I feel like people are either pretending that was huge at the time or have just found it late. But Bisha, I want to go with you first. Can you drop a 90s horror bomb on some people that they might not be familiar with, or maybe forgot how good this fucking movie was that you will go back to in this century?
Yeah, I'm going to start with John Carpenter's Vampires. I'm going to get one of the more
James Woods, right? James Woods.
Yeah.
Is John Bon Jovi in that?
No, he was in the sequels, I think.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah, because I think there was like Los Muertos and stuff like that came after. But I know the first one was what'd you say? I just lost it. James Woods. So basically, James Woods.
I have James Woods. Sorry.
Basically, there's a vampire hunting team that works. There's several, but this one, and they work for the Vatican, and they're hunting vampires. And then all of a sudden, like this ancient vampire comes back and starts slaughtering all these vampire teams to leave James Woods versus this guy. And this is like the original vampire. And if they can kill him, they might be able to stop it. But if he gets his hands on this relic and does this ceremony, he might be able to walk in the daylight with all of his children. So, James Woods is James Woods. He's got some great one-liners, and the soundtrack's really cool.
Yeah, I like the movie. It's okay. What year is that, B?
I think it was 98.
Who's the head vampire?
I don't know the actor's name, but his name is Valak in the movie.
Okay. And is there anybody of noteworthy in the movie? Anybody? Let me see.
Which Baldwin is this? Daniel?
That looks like Danny. Yeah, he's the old beefy one.
Yeah.
Shah, you a fan of vampires, Carpenter? It's okay.
I am. It's kind of like a Western too.
It does have a Western vibe, yeah.
Yeah. No, I like the movie a lot. I actually prefer that over Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, how dare
I'll be honest with you. That's my least.
How fucking dare you?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that movie.
Really? I got 2 words for you. Selma Hayek, motherfucker.
I don't know, man. Not the biggest fan of that movie or the sequels.
The sequels are pretty whack.
Yeah, there's this one scene in this movie. I think he guts somebody or something like that. B-show. I haven't seen this for like 10, 15
He's got cool
years.
Weapons, like because the Vatican gives him money and all that stuff, and he
splits a dude in half.
Yeah,
I vaguely remember that. Yeah, and again, what year is this? Be 98.
98. So they're in a hotel partying. Yeah. So they're in a hotel partying, and all the slayers are there with hookers and the priest and the sheriff
on the Vatican's dime, right? The Vatican's paying for hooas.
Yes. So. Dude walks to the door, says he's going to go get beer. He opens it up, and this dude's standing in the doorway. And he sticks his hand in the dude's chest and wipes his hand up. And the dude separates from left to right just in half and falls down like a flower.
Yeah, I remember that scene.
I vaguely remember that. Well, that's a good pick if people haven't seen it, especially if it's a Carpenter movie. Shah, your pick for your 90s, one of your 90s horror gems.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget about this one, man. I love this movie, and I know it has a remake. It has like a Japanese remake that I've yet to see. The second one was pretty good too, but the original is a banger, and that is Cube from 1997.
Oh, the original Cube became a big franchise, right? Cube, kind of.
Yeah, I don't know
Sorta.
if it was big, but it was one of those underground movies that a lot of people like. This movie has a lot of cool traps. Like this is before Saw, and basically these people wake up stuck in this cube, and there's all sorts of traps, and they have to find out what the reason is that they're there. And it has several levels, and it gets fucking ballistic, dude. It's crazy. And I
Wow.
love this movie, man. And
Yeah, I
this
remember it.
doesn't have
There's some cool kill scenes, right? Shot some pretty cool
amazing
kills.
kills. Yeah, this doesn't even have a good Blu-ray or anything.
I'm surprised because they made a
I
bunch of
know.
sequels, I thought, and they get they're very popular with people. It's a cool.
Well, they
cool
had
concept.
two. The third one
97.
is an Asian remake.
Okay, that's why I feel like that got a lot of props. This is 97, Shah?
Yeah, 1997.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people may have seen that. Kevco's calling it a cult classic.
I love this movie, dude.
Yeah, I might have to revisit this. Now, I have a movie you guys may or may not have heard of. It's from 1992, and it stars a very well. He's not even the star; he's the co-star. 1992's Nemesis. This is with Thomas Jane. This is a dope cyberpunk. I mean, my fucking god, this movie has it all. It has a cool ending. It has a line in it where the robot dude says, "State of the art, Alex." This is one of those cool renting the video store movies B show that's got look at this. I mean, you could just look at some of this shit.
That's
This
the
is a
sequel, but
that's the sequel. That's right. That's Oliver Grunner and a very young Thomas Jane. This is a fucking wild ass cyberpunk like cyborg movie. One of the sort of Terminator theme type films that came out. But anybody who's seen this fucking loves this movie. Shah, have you even heard of this? This is so goddamn good.
I remember seeing the tape at the video stores back in the day, but I've never rented it or seen it. I didn't even know it was a horror movie. Is it a horror movie?
Yeah, it's a sci-fi. Yeah, it's like a cyberpunk horror sci-fi. Falls in that category.
I know that movie, Cyborg. That's
I don't know. Well, yeah, because it's kind of falls in that genre. 92. Bisho, have you ever heard of it?
I've heard of it. I've never seen it. And honestly, whenever I see people talk about it, I thought they were talking about Star Trek Nemesis, so I stayed away.
No, this is 1992. All practical effects. Very cool ending. Guns, robots, it has it all. So if you have an opportunity to check this out, it is like a early sci-fi punk, like early 90s vibe, big guns, shitty acting, just a lot of fun. I like these kind of movies. I love the ending of this. It's weird that Thomas Jane is in it. And if you recognize that Asian actor, Bisho, he's in a lot of stuff. That guy, I mean, this guy, you recognize him? He's in a ton of stuff.
He's Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he was already. Remember this guy, Shah? This guy's in a ton of shit. Yeah. He's also did the Tekken movie. Oh, that's funny. So that's my pick.
Oh, he was in Showdown in Little Tokyo.
Wow, he's that old. I wonder if he's still alive.
That's a good fucking movie, dude. That's underrated.
Yeah, I know that movie. Yeah, okay. Bisho, you got another one for the kids?
Yeah, let me check the list. This one, I hate to steal it from Shah because I know it might be on his list. It's Nightbreed from Clive Barker. I think we talked about it.
I just rewatched it recently. It's on cable a lot this month. Bad acting. Acting's really
terrible, but I was really impressed with not only Cronenberg as the killer, that creepy fucking mask with the button eyes.
Decker.
Yeah, but also like the creature effects in this movie with all the people underground and this dude transforming. Oh my god, the whole underground city type of shit. It's just a really cool movie.
Midian, not to be confused with Naked Midian from the WWE Attitude Era, Shah.
That's right.
Yeah, see movies like this with practical effects and actual sets being built and designed for these movies make you appreciate these movies so much more, because when you look at this movie, you're like, holy shit, they literally built a whole setting that looks completely like people put in time and effort, like hands went to work on that, So it makes me appreciate it, man. But nowadays it would be all CGI. And I'm not trying to just shit on CGI all the time. It's just I like a mix of both. It's you got to have a mix of both.
Well, one thing I'll say this, guys, because I just rewatched this a couple of weeks ago, because it happened to be starting. It's very cheesy. There's some cheesy, like her being in the bands is very cheesy. Like you watch it now, you're like, oh, it's like it's like April O'Neil in the Turtles movie or whatever, in the first Turtles movie kind of vibe. But or like when they have Vanilla Ice on stage. But when he goes to Midian, when you see it now, you guys might not remember this. It's the set is like a painting. Like it's not.
Yeah.
it looks really bad. Like it doesn't look great in 4K. I'm just saying. Like, and I love
Oh,
this.
I
I'm a
thought you
huge.
meant it's a work of art, like a painting.
No, I mean like it's a fucking painting. Like when they
It's a
show up
matte
to the
painting.
gates of Midian. Yeah, it's it's a green screen with a painting, kind of like people's YouTube's capabilities are fucking better than that right now. And I'm not shitting. I'm a super fan. I've read the books. I read the comics. I met Clive Barker. I'm a lifelong fucking fan. I love the conceptual of everything about it, but I just feel like you guys, if you watched it now, you might be like, oh, there's a couple little things there, just
Sure, and
notwithstanding.
to that point, even The Thing is considered one of the best creature effects movies of all time. But
Miles
there's a
ahead of
couple
this.
scenes.
It's miles ahead of this, though. The thing.
But what I'm
Miles.
saying is, even in that, there's still a couple scenes where there's
Yeah.
okay.
I'll say this: the creatures in Midian look great. They really fucking do. The Nightbreed creatures, but except for that little rubber baby there, that's not so great. But the acting's pretty terrible. Shah, do you have a second pick for the kids?
Yeah, right behind The Shining and probably It. This is my favorite Stephen King film that nobody ever talks about, really. And I had the biggest crush on this woman that stars in it, Carrie Vourer. I don't know how to say her last name. How do you say her last name?
Who is this now?
Type in Kari.
Well, we didn't get to the movie yet, yeah.
Well, I want to see if
what movie it is.
Are you talking about Carrie Warrer?
Yeah. How do you say her last name? It's Warrer.
It's like WEU. It's Carrie Warrer.
Hi. Oh, man, I had the
control.
biggest crush on her.
Yeah.
This movie's from 1996, I believe. It's Stephen King's Thinner.
Now, Shah, you're not gonna believe this, but this was actually a question on Jeopardy from the book Stephen King's Thinner. Yep. This was a question on Jeopardy. Yep.
Dude, this movie is so underrated. Nobody ever puts it on a list. Nobody.
Yeah, I wonder why. I remember it. I rented it when it came out. I remember the commercial where the woman goes dinner and she touches his face, and the special effects are okay.
Special effects are good, dude. It looks.
I got to see it again. I really need to see it again. B-Show, do you remember
this
one?
Face. Look at that cover. That cassette tape will always stand out.
I'm looking at Carrie Warrer.
Oh yeah, she was the most gorgeous gypsy I've ever seen in my life.
With Colin Quinn.
Holy shit!
From the MTV show. Yeah, she did nudes like later in life. Wow, where did she go? B-Show, do you remember this movie?
Oh yeah, this movie's amazing.
I gotta watch.
It's one of those like very not bleak but human nature-y type. Like you're gonna curse yourself with bad decisions, and if you decided to be a piece of shit, bad things are gonna happen. I love that Twilight Zone-y type of stuff. And what's really amazing is the guy who stars in the movie. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I don't know him either.
Basically, he was going on a diet when he was cast for this movie. So everything he eats, when they yell cut, he's spitting out into like a cup or a bowl.
Oh, that's horrible. Oh, please don't tell me I'm going to get sick. Oh my God. Well, I'll need to revisit this for sure. My pick, I have to say, I saw this in theaters. I talk about it every now and then, but it is constantly being shoved down my throat on social media as a movie people are discovering. I'm talking about Robert Rodriguez's 1998's The Faculty. I love The Faculty. I've seen this movie 100 times. You couldn't get this movie to be this cool now. This cast is incredible. The music is great. I love the story behind it. It's got a lot of stars in it, like people who are like fucking stars. And it's it's got like, I mean, we got people in here that were already, you got Jon Stewart doing like a 2-minute role. You got, what's his face? The tournament, Robert Patrick doing a pretty small role. Everybody's getting out of the way for the young kids in this fucking movie. Now, Danny Masterson is in it. He's got a small part, but it's not he's got like one line in it. But BB Newirth, she's a fucking she's practically an EGOT. Selma Hayek. I mean, you're not going to get Famke Janssen. These are the adults in the goddamn movie, B-Show.
She was fucking
Famke, gorgeous. What a stunning broad. Christopher McLeod, a.k.a. Shooter McGavin. That Daryl, Piper Laurie. Piper Laurie is plays like a teacher. I know this movie. Summer Phoenix is in that. Oh yeah, she plays one of the girls holding hands. Harry Knowles from Ain't It Cool News as a cameo in this. It's a fucking crazy movie. I think this movie. Lewis Black? No, that's not the Lewis Black.
Wrong, Lewis Black.
Okay, I was gonna say no fucking way. My God, Jordan. I mean, this is like you couldn't get this cast today, Shah. I'm a super fan, Shah. I love the movie.
I haven't seen this in at least 15 years.
Jesus.
But funny enough, I just pre-ordered this because it's coming out on 4K from Scream Factory.
That's
So
interesting.
I'm definitely looking forward to watching it again. But I haven't seen it in a long
and
time.
Joe Punches
seen
says
it when Usher
Frodo
was-
is in it.
Yeah,
Usher. Yeah, Usher was not super
Young
famous
Usher.
at this point, Shah.
Yeah.
The then Monster I think looks pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like I like it. I think it looks all right. You know, I like teeth. I like if you've got a lot of teeth in it. B-Show, your memories of this movie?
I like this movie a lot. It was actually on my list for my number 3. Good thing I came up with a
Oh,
backup.
get the fuck out of here. I love it. Oh, that's
No.
fantastic.
It's basically, if you've never seen it, it's a cross between Body Snatchers and The Thing. It's
Yeah.
kind of
In high school. In high school.
Yes, I think it gets a lot of flack because it came out during the teen movie era, but it's got a great cast. The performances are pretty
Really
good.
does.
It's a little bit deeper than most of the surface level teen movies because it's a Robert Rodriguez joint, and it's just really good. So if you haven't seen this and you haven't watched it because of bad reviews or whatever, check it out. It's fantastic.
Yeah, Kevco was saying the shit that was my jam in middle school. It's a fucking brilliant movie. I highly recommend it. Shah, you need to watch it again, man. You're gonna fall in love with this fucking movie. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I got it ordered. I'm just waiting. I think it's coming out in like 2 months. So
Okay. Now, do we have a third movie? Does everybody have a third movie they want to throw out there? Do you got one, B? We might not have one. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I'll go with one. I'm not as familiar. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I can't lay out the entire plot, obviously. But this one was on TV a lot back in the day. It's Tales from the Crypt, Bordello of Blood.
You got to be kidding me.
Is that on your list?
No, but I'm gonna. Well, not necessarily, but I have a different movie. Tales of the Crypt. Is Bordello of Blood the Dennis Miller one?
Yes.
Love it. I think it's great. It's funny.
And
What's her
the lead
face is
actress
she is
sexy
hot as
shit.
balls. I think she was banging Stern around this time, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my God.
Yeah, or she was banging Stallone. She was banging Stallone, I think.
Stallone.
Yeah, Shah, have you seen this? This is great.
I haven't seen this one. I've seen the other one,
Demon Knight.
Demon Knight. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen that
spoiler alert. That was my third. I love Demon Knight. I just rewatched some of it like a couple months ago.
That's a good movie. I haven't seen this one.
This is great. I think they're both equally on the same level, B. What do you think? I think they are. I think if you like one, you're liking the other.
I'm not as familiar with Demon Knight. I confused Demon Knight with Tales from the Hood for some reason.
Jada Pinkett is so fucking cute in Demon Knight. She's got a scene in her drawers. It's hard now to not like if you see her in this movie now, she's so effing cute in Demon Knight. Billy Zane is a great villain. Shah, you're more familiar with Demon Knight?
Yeah, I used to watch that on HBO all the time.
Yeah. She is cute. This is right after I think she did. Was it Menace? Right? She was in Menace Society.
Set it off. I think.
Set it off. Yeah.
Set it off. Okay. Yeah. Cool movie. That's Bill Sadler, I think. Kevco saying another classic from my childhood. B-Show, yeah, we might as well put these together because they're Tales from the Crypt was very popular still. They crossed into mainstream sort of culture there. The Tales from the Crypt Demon was doing like the Tonight Show appearances and doing the MTV VMAs and such. These were fun movies. I never saw either of them in theaters because I'm obviously a lot older than you guys, but I regretted it when I watched them on VHS. They were both very fun. And Billy Zane is great in this movie. He's very over the top, hamming it up. And I think after this, he would go on to fucking play the heavy in Titanic, B-Show.
And then The Mummy.
And The Mummy, yeah. So he had a good little run there. I think I talked about this. He gave me shit because he thought I was standing too close to him at an ATM once in the village. I swear to God, this is long before cell phones. We were going to some club, and he was taking forever. And his big bald head is standing in front of me, and I'm like, this fucking guy. And then my friends are honking outside, and I'm like, dude, it's like a Citibank. I was like, this guy's taking a long time. And Billy Zane turns out, gives me a look like, oh, and he walks away all annoyed. I go, holy shit, you're fucking Billy Zane. He goes, yeah, or something like that. And I was like, wow, I just almost got another celebrity fight. But Shah, yeah, you're gonna want to revisit these, Shah. They're both fun.
Yeah, they used to Scream Factory put them out years ago. They're out of print now, so it's like
wow,
it's hard to get them. They're like $40-$50 now each. Actually, probably more.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for them to release them on 4K eventually. So
yeah, the fun movies for sure. Shah, you got your third pick since we both kind of combined ours. They're both Tales from the Crypt movies.
Yeah. I've talked about this before, but The Dentist 1 and 2. I
Love The
fucking
Dentist?
love this series. Again, I'm trying to name some, unknown ones. But these movies
Well,
were
not many
so
people have probably seen The Dentist.
it's
I
underrated,
don't
man.
think they
Check it
have.
out. It's
I
pretty
saw the
gory
first one.
too. Pretty gory, pretty gross. There's a scene with cockroaches in the second one. It's pretty nasty.
What is the
Also,
sequel about? I don't recall a sequel for The Dentist.
there's a second one. There's another movie called Dr. Giggles too. Very similar to this, but it's a
Yeah.
regular doctor.
Now, what's funny, Shah, is both of them are from the same TV series in the 80s and 90s, LA Law. Both actors, both stars.
Really?
The Dr. Giggle, yeah, they were both from LA Law.
Wow, that's right.
Yeah,
I can
him
see
and
it. I can see
very
this guy
odd.
being on a TV show.
Oh no, he was like a heartthrob on LA Law. Him and Harry Hamlin, I think, in the 90s.
It's such a
And
fun
Lori-
movie though,
And
especially
what's her face? Susan from the Partridge Family. That was like a big show in the 90s or late 80s, late 80s.
Yeah.
And the Dr. Giggles guy is also the heavy in Darkman. He's the villain there.
Is he
B-Show,
also
you've seen
Dorn
these?
in Major League, or is that somebody else?
Yeah, he's Roger Dorn. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he's also was just, by the way, he just played Emma Stone's dad. This actor, I forget his name, but we got Corbin Burnson. He just played Emma Stone's dad in The Host, in The Curse, excuse me, the Showtime show. Larry Drake, thank you, Slave Cheeks. Yeah, Chris Matthews saying, I remember Dr. Larry Drake played a special needs mail clerk on LA Law, and he was one of the, I'm not making this up.
No,
and he
I
was
know,
one of the
because then
law
he did the
partners.
Dark Knight of the Scarecrow too.
That's wait a minute. Dark Knight of the Scarecrow is a younger Larry Drake.
I think so.
You've got to be fucking kidding me. I think you might be right. Holy God.
Yeah.
Wow. What a weird career for this fucking guy, huh? Yeah, there is LA Law. And there's Corbin Bird. Click on it. Show Shah. Shah, I'll show you your dentist guy. Look, he's a big heartthrob in LA Law. LA Law, the movie. Oh, that's the movie. Well,
how
right
is
there.
Darkman? I've never seen Darkman. Is that good?
Darkman's Sam Raimi. It holds up. It's comic booky,
Yeah.
Susan Day, Corbin Burnson, Jill Eisenberry. Yeah, look at that some right there. Kind of looks the same, But Roger Dorn, B-Show. I mean, Major League. Roger Dorn. Can't be better than that.
One of the best sports comedies of all time, man.
Yeah, so these are wild picks. Since we some of these are borderline comedies there, I'd like to throw some 90s comedies out that maybe some people have forgotten about. B-Show, do you got a 90s comedy you can drop there? I'm worried we might have some of the same ones.
Possibly. I've got a couple kind of obscure ones because of my sense of humor. This is a Bruce Willis film that not many people I know have seen. The ones I do know who've seen it hate it, and I think it's really good. It's called
I already
Hudson
know what you're
Hawk.
going to say. Yep, Hudson Hawk. It's so bad. It's such a piece of shit. Danny
it's so
Aiello.
fun.
Danny Aiello is in it. It's
Yeah.
awful. What an
It's so
awful
fun,
movie.
though, man.
I got to
Just
watch it again to see how bad it is. Put it that way. Like Bruce Willis was the biggest star on earth. This has a 2 on one of the, and it's got a 5.7. This was a commercial bomb. This is when Bruce Willis could have put his penis in anything at this point in life. My God, was he big? He was a superstar. Yeah, this is pretty terrible movie. Oh, that's Andy McDowell. She's pretty sexy. Look at
There's
Danny
a
Aiello.
cast here. Let me pull it up. There's quite a few.
Shah, have you ever heard of this? It's so obscure because it bombed right out of theaters.
No, I've seen the cover. I've never seen it though.
Okay.
So he's a cat burglar who gets out of jail and he gets roped into like trying to rob the loo in, was it France? Or
France, yeah,
Italy?
Paris, yeah.
And then there's this huge weird cast of characters like Andy McDowell, Danny Aiello, Frank Stallone, Andrew Bianarski, who might make an appearance.
Why is Drew
on this,
McIntyre in it? I didn't know he was in that.
James Coburn, Lorraine Toussaint. She's only been in a couple things
I've seen her in a bunch of movies. David Caruso, Brooklyn Guy, Sandra Bernhard. Let me see. Donald Berman. I'm just trying to see who else is in this. Anybody big with smaller roles? Yeah, Steve Martin has a cameo. I guess Danny Aiello threw his son in there. This was just a payday movie for Bruce Willis. It was the dialogue looks like it was written on the back of a napkin somewhere. It was just a horror show. James Coburn, I think, it's got some villains. Yeah, I get it, B-Show. It has some quality stuff in it because it's got some weirdness to it. But overall,
like I watched it as a quirky, weird comedy that was kind of being dumb on purpose, but apparently everyone thought it was supposed to be a serious comedy. So
yeah, because he was the top star of television and into films, and he still had hair. But the interesting pick,
Looks like Brock
No,
Lesnar from the 80s.
that's like one of the heavies in it. There's a lot of like villains he's got to beat up, and it's
this guy, Andrew.
that guy. Yeah, look at the size of that guy.
Oh,
My
Drew
God.
McIntyre from the 80s.
Yeah, Drew McIntyre. Oh, this guy played. He's been Leatherface a couple of times, guys.
Yep.
He's a big dude. This motherfucker. Who was he in Street Fighter? Do we think?
He was Zangief.
Oh yeah, I love Street Fighter.
Big
movie.
Russian.
I'm a big apologist for the Street Fighter movie. I still think it's good. I don't care what anybody says. Jean-Claude Van Damme was so coked out. And Raul Julia was friendly with my father in real life. That was the most money he ever made in his life, was doing that movie. And he was sick when he was doing it. Most money he ever got paid.
Yeah, he had pancreatic cancer and said that he did the movie because his kids really love Street Fighter. He wanted to do it for them.
Great guy. What a phenomenal actor. Great voice. We lost that guy way too soon. Shout out to the memory of Raul Julia. Shah, what's your comedy? I bet you got a banger on deck.
You're gonna know this movie. I don't know if B-Show's seen it, but Nothing But Trouble from 1991.
You only like it because Tupac's in it.
Well, I like it because Tupac's in it, and also it's got some of the fucking coolest characters in there. Like the whole Judge's families.
It's all prosthetics too. It's wild. Yeah, the twins.
Yeah. That's Aykroyd, right?
Yeah. That's Aykroyd.
He made the movie.
Demi Moore, John Candy. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he might have. Weird that they put Digital Underground in here. Like they weren't super famous. Same song is like at the ending credits, and it became a big single for Digital Underground after the Humpty Dance. A very young Tupac.
Really bad movie, honestly. It's
really,
just fun,
yeah, but wow, I look at John Candy. Oh my God. Oh, look at John Candy. What a
God bless
legend.
John Candy, man.
What a fucking legend. That dude is a legend.
He's got a dick for a nose.
Both of these movies, honestly, if you're on like edibles, like on a late night, these come on, you're not going to be disappointed, dude. Demi Moore, super cute back then, too. My God, was she cute back then, huh? Good golly, still gorgeous. What am I saying? Demi Moore's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Who directed this? Yeah. Who directed this?
It was Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd. Wow. Well, yeah, I bet you there was a lot of coke in this movie. Put his brother in there. Another Danny Baldwin again, guys. Look at this with the Danny Baldwin show. Brian Doyle Murray's in it. Taylor Negron, who's been in everything from fucking Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and this guy has cameos in everything. Shock G, Shock G, also dead.
Yeah, the Taylor guy, wasn't he? He was a gay character in the movie, right?
If you click, he's a super character actor.
He's like a gay barber or something.
Let's scroll down. He might have been. He's in everything.
He was a mailman in Better Off Dead too. I just noticed that the other night.
Yeah, he's in Fast Times. I mean, like Better Off Dead, Fast Times, Punchline, Biodome, Nothing But Trouble, Last Boy Scout, Easy Money. He married Rodney Dangerfield's daughter in Easy Money. He was, Can I Call You Dead? Oh, it was a great Julio. He's Julio in Easy Money. Oh my fucking God. Unbelievable. Yeah, Taylor was great. I don't know if he's still alive. This guy had a good little career going on. Look at all these movies, guys. He's in River's Edge, The Aristocrats.
Shah, what's the movie you're thinking about with the gay barber?
Maybe he's just thinking about a gay barber.
No, I'm looking it up right now. Give me a second.
Okay.
Taylor Negron, gay barber. I don't know.
Was it like Last Boy Scout or something?
No, he played he was a murderer in Last Boy Scout. Angels in the Outfield. I don't think he's a gay barber.
He was on Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's what he was a gay character on Curb.
Amazing. Yeah, that guy's amazing. Total character actor.
I knew he played a gay
he died
character.
in 2015, dude. Wow. Oh, so I don't think he's in any more movies because he's dead. Unless they cast his dead body. So I have a banger here. You guys may have seen it. You may not. If you haven't seen it, this is a straight classic in every way. Another dead star. A dead director, a dead star, and a kind of almost dead co-star. I'm talking about 1998, Bob Saget, Norm Macdonald, Artie Lang, Dirty Work. This fucking movie rules. This movie rules. I will stand behind how much I love this movie. If you've never seen this fucking movie, it is outstanding. Shah, you familiar with this? It's so goddamn good. It's so raunchy, inappropriate.
I love this and Screwed. I always get them mixed up, but
Screwed. I remember Screwed. Yeah,
Screwed had Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, Dirty Work has Artie Lang and Norm Macdonald find out that Artie Lang's dad, they were best friends, is actually both of their dads, and they have to get jobs And by the way, the Don Rickles cameo in this is B-Show. If you've never seen the Don Rickles cameo in this movie, it's all made up and improvised. Artie Lang has told this story where he calls Artie Lang a baby gorilla, and like Pete, they couldn't. You see them really laughing in the movie, B-Show.
Oh man, Don Rickles, another like God bless him, dude. What an
legend.
original.
It's a lot of legends in this. And Bob Saget directed it. B-Show, you've never seen it? This is right up your alley, bro.
I've seen clips from it. My brother sent me something the other day about I need to get on this. I'm familiar with it, but never.
Look, Shooter McGavin again, guys. Kevin Farley. Look at this. You got the what's with all these brothers of famous people in these movies? Rebecca Romaine, a mostly unknown Rebecca Romaine there. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else unknown in this.
David Koechner.
David Koechner, yeah, he's not very well known at this point.
Gary Coleman is in that?
Yeah, he has a cameo. He's got a cameo in it. A lot of cameos in it, Shah. You need to see this again. And B-Show, you need to get on this, man. This is just like, oh my God, R-rated comedy front to back. Yeah, people bring it up dirty work. Kevco's talking about Half-Baked.
I think with the jukebox and getting a fight or something.
Yeah, Marquise. Oh, shout out to Marquise is in there. I didn't know you were in there, Marquise. And Artie Lang, like not on heroin at this point, I believe. Just funny, a lot of promise and potential. Oh, Artie, this breaks my heart. This really hurts me to see this. This really hurts me to see this man like this. Yeah. Shout out to the legend of Norm Macdonald. My God, Chevy Chase. Yeah, this is a fun one, guys. This is definitely not something. Jim Downey. By the way, people like Fred Wolf and Jim Downey, you don't know them, but you know them because they wrote some of the biggest sketches on Saturday Night Live, like that you've like ever, like absolutely ever, that you've probably ever seen. But a fun movie. B, you got another one for him?
Still talking comedy. Yes, this movie came out at the tail end of the 80s action movies, right? I think in 90 or 91. Mm-hmm. It's a National Lampoon movie, keeping in with my sense of humor.
Okay.
It's called Loaded Weapon 1.
I think I've seen that. I think I've seen this. The Charlie Sheen and yes, I remember this. Oh my God, with Sam Jackson and Charlie Sheen.
Check out this cast.
Look at this, guys.
Emilio Estevez, Samuel L. Jackson, Kathy Ireland, John Lovitz, William Shatner, Tim Curry, Frank McRae, Denise Richards, Lynn Shay, who's in every fucking
Richard Mall, F. Murray Abraham, Whoopi Goldberg, Corey Feldman. Oh my God, Eric Estrada's in it. Joyce Brothers, Dr. Joyce Brothers.
Phil Hartman has a cameo.
I don't remember this. I may have saw this in theaters actually on a date. I'm not even kidding. Shah, have you ever heard of this? It's really fucking funny.
I remember the cover, never seen it. I had no idea it had this many stars on it though. Jesus.
Yeah, it's supposed to because it was the ripoff of Lethal Weapon. What was
Wilderness Girls.
Yeah, look at that. Tim
says
Curry.
We're not meeting our quota.
Tim Curry. Wow, funny shit. So, Shah, you've never seen it though?
No, I've never seen it.
Well, it's funny. I remember it. I would like to go back and check this out because look at look at this cast. It's outrageous. That's Emilio Estevez, not Charlie Sheen. I got confused there. Yeah. But a good pick, B-Show, out of nowhere with that motherfucker. My God, that was out of nowhere. Shah, you got one for the kids?
Yeah, not one of my favorite comedies, but we're mentioning underrated ones, and I never hear anybody talk about this one. It's from 1996. It's High School High. Have you seen this one?
I have. John Lovitz is in it?
Yeah,
I've seen it. Yeah,
he's basically a white teacher at an inner city school.
That picture is so great.
And he's the perfect guy for this, man. So
he really is.
I like this movie. I just wish it was rated R, so it could be a little bit more raunchy because it's PG-13.
Yeah, it's pretty. It pushes the envelope, though, Shah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Mikhail Pfeiffer is in there.
Yeah, Mikhail Pfeiffer is the star, I think, on Lovitz, and that's Tia Carrere, smoking hot there. Mm-hmm. By the way, she does voiceovers now for corporate videos. Don't ask me how I know. B-Show, have you ever seen this?
Oh yeah.
It's
he walks into the high school dance.
Yeah,
and asks him to play Rhinestone Cowboy by Glenn Campbell.
I love Rhinestone Cowboy, though. I don't care. It's an all-black high school. He's the white savior teacher. They completely turn it on its ass. What a great! This is another hot pick. So we're gonna close these out at 2 picks each because we just got a lot to get to. My number 2 pick, to me, honestly, this is not this. He literally apologized for this movie when his 3rd film came out. How bad this did. They're making the sequel now. If this is bad, I'm going to go to his house and punch him right in the dick hole. 1995, Kevin Smith's Mallrats. I fucking love Mallrats. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love everything about this movie. I've seen it a million times. This movie is a hard R comedy. It's got it all. You're a comic person. You're a 90s. I was around the age of these dudes, close to this age at this time. I fucking adore this movie. Kevin Smith literally had to apologize for this when Chasing Amy was at fucking Sundance. On that, and I seriously, if he fucks up this sequel, I'm gonna punch him square in his vegan dick hole. Shah, you a fan of Mallrats?
Of course, man. I love all of his earlier movies. It's ever since Jersey Girl, I feel like he started to go downhill. Because Dogma, I loved, Jay and Silent Bob. I love all that shit.
Me too.
But then he did Jersey Girl, and ever since then, I don't know.
Yeah, and this kind of ruined Shannon Doherty's career. Look at Michael Rooker with the shaved head. My God.
Have you
Lee.
seen Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back? The second
one? Of course,
one?
it's in theaters.
Yeah.
The second one? Maybe. What's
from like
no, I couldn't get through it. I couldn't get through it.
I bought it and I've never watched it. I heard so many bad things. I kind of don't want to watch it.
Yeah, it opened up pretty funny, but then it got kind of boring. Like I just got bored with it. But the Mallrats sequel is coming. It's coming right now. Shannon Doherty's so cute in this movie, and she's very sick, fighting some very real health problems. Show, I know you're familiar with this. What are you gonna say, Shah?
I remember her from that sci-fi show. Do you remember that? There was like a prank sci-fi show on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh, I vaguely remember that. Yeah, I remember her Playboy. I bought one of the few times I ever bought Playboy was when she was.
She was the host. They would basically like scare people with fake aliens and.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh yeah.
Look at Kevin Smith. Look at Kevin Smith there. That genius. Show, are you a fan of Mallrats in the genre?
Yeah, Mallrats might actually be my favorite of his movies. Maybe that's close, but that Dogma and I'd have to think on it. Probably my top.
Yeah, I love Dogma. I love Dogma.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Like these movies, I don't know why they thought this movie was so bad. Like if this type of movie was made like 5 years later, it probably would have been loved because
it ruined Shannon Doherty's film career. She left 90210 for a film career, and Kevin Smith had to make. If you notice, the budget for Chasing Amy was a fraction of what it was for this movie.
Yeah. Well, the budget was $6 million. It made $2 million.
$2 million.
Holy shit! This movie is great.
It's phenomenal. Can you believe the balls to not? What a fuck! I can't. I'll talk about this all night. Scare Tactics, Chris Matthews. Thank you. What a genius show that was.
Yeah, hell yeah, that was a show.
Yeah, this was fucking. Well, I mean, we could go on and on about this. Stan Lee, asking Stan Lee about body parts and comics, and my God, this was something special. Just a special time.
That first scene when they start out and he gets in the argument with the black comic artist and he calls him an inker or he calls him a tracer and
you're a tracer, man. A tracer.
Yeah. That is such a great opening. And it's not
that's actually from Chasing Amy. And then Chris Rock repeats it in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
See, I'm confusing that then.
I'm an enthusiast of this film.
What is a Nubian? There it is. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, yeah.
They start to fight, yeah.
Where the guy's looking at the picture and he goes, "It's a schooner." That's so great. Listen, I want to get to another genre if we can. Do you guys want to do action? Do you guys want to do sci-fi? What do you guys want to do? Drama? What do you guys want to do for the 90s? You want to do drama? Or do you want to do action? What do you want to do? Sci-fi? What are you guys thinking?
I guess.
And then I want to get to you want to do action?
Yeah, I got a bunch of action, only a couple of drama.
Okay, I got a couple of action movies myself. So, because action in the 90s was a big deal. And I don't feel like it's a big deal anymore. I feel like it's all kind of blurred as far as that goes, actually. But B-Show, drop an action movie on the people.
This one was a bomb. I guess it did well financially the first couple of weeks, but critically it was a bomb. It's a Stallone movie that's not all action. It's got some drama and some like romantic aspects, but it's another James Woods movie. It's called The Specialist.
Oh, I remember that. The bomb movie about the bomb maker.
He's like a bomb specialist.
Sharon Stone.
Yeah. So basically he's in some CIA deal. They kill, almost like Scarface, they kill these guys and there's a kid in the car. He resigns and beats the shit out of the dude. And then years later, they come back to get him, and they're like the head of a crime family. James Woods is like embedded in the cops.
That's right. I remember this now.
It's kind of, there's some cheesy aspects to it, but just like the explosion special effects, but then the story and just the intensity between James Woods and Sylvester Stallone. And Eric Roberts is technically the main heavy. So
Yes, that's right. He was the villain in that. Do you remember this movie, Shah?
No, I've never seen this one.
Yeah, it's not a great film, but it has a lot of cool elements to it. I think this was a bomb too, if I'm not like no pun intended. I think this was a bomb. Yeah, Eric Roberts was the heavy. Sharon Stone, this was coming off of her sort of meteoric rise there. After showing her vag. But do you got one for the kids there, Shah?
Yeah, trying to decide. I think Double Team. That was between that.
Oh,
The
Rodman
one
and
with
Van
Dennis Rodman.
Dam.
Yeah, I think that was from '99.
Yes. Yeah, I think that kind of ended the decade there.
Yeah, '97.
97. Yes,
This
this was
was just
wow.
prime time Dennis Rodman and Jean-Claude Van Damme. And I think
Wow.
right after this, he went to NWO, right? Like '98.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that makes sense. This is where Dennis Rodman was probably one of the most popular people in the world, like between his books and the Bulls.
Terrible
and
movie, to be honest, but it's very charming.
Yeah.
It's just
you could smell the cocaine in the movie when you watch it. Look at this. And Rodman had no business opening a mainstream film like this. Like he had no business doing this. Like
reminded me of a worse version of Demolition Man. You know,
Demolition Man's a great movie. I love Demolition Man.
On my list.
Wow, that was you know what, B-Show? That's great. That's on your list because it was on my list too as my third pick. So as Demolition Man. By the way, I love Demolition Man. I think Demolition Man is fantastic. I know that it's a cult movie now. That was going to be on my pick right there. I think we can all agree Demolition Man is the shit. It did not do well at all, considering who was in it at the time. Sandra Bullock was a nothing at this point in her career, and she's super cute. I remember Bisha how cute she was in this.
Yes, so she still had like some wholesome deal, but you could tell on the
Very
side
cute.
she like wanted to fuck him so bad.
Very cute. Look how cute she is. Very. I remember Wesley Snipes. This was a big deal. You know, this was like a huge deal for him playing against Stallone in a way because Stallone was so box office shot at this point. Are you a huge fan of Demolition Man? I'm a big fan.
I'm a big fan of anything Stallone from the 80s and 90s, pretty much.
Yeah. Look at young Jack Black is in this. Oh my God.
Really?
Yeah. Young Jack Black. Glenn Shattuck, who's also, I believe, deceased from Beetlejuice. Yes. Dennis Leary. Benjamin Bratt, a very young Benjamin Bratt. Gran L. Bush. This guy was in a lot of movies back in the day. Jesse Ventura. John Enos the third. He played a villain in a bunch of 80s, 90s stuff. I think he was on Melrose Place as a villain. That Troy Evans guy's been in a ton of shit. I mean, it's a stupid movie, but I love this movie, and I think it's a very fun watch. If you guys haven't seen it in a long time. Dirk is in the house. Shout out to Dirk. And Marquise is bringing up the 3 shells. By the way, people have been talking about the 3 shells for like 30 years and how you use them. There's a theory on how you actually use the 3 shells instead of toilet paper. B-Show, were you aware of that?
Oh, yes, I was. In fact, at my office, someone decorated the bathroom and they put some seashells on a table.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked out. I said, "Well, we're not buying toilet paper anymore," and nobody got it.
So. Oh, that's amazing. I'm going to drop a hot pick, and then I think we're going to head over to Patreon because you can do this all night, but these are just suggestions. This is a movie I have seen maybe 300 times. I watch it every time it's on cable. I've looked into this movie. At the time, this was a box office unsuccess with mediocre ratings, and it has now become a cult classic in part because of one of the most iconic performances of the generation of the 90s, Val Kilmer playing Doc Holliday. I'm talking about 1993's Tombstone. My God, is this a fucking winner of a movie? This movie's got it all. It was not critically acclaimed when it came out. It really wasn't. And I don't think it made a lot of money at the time. But this movie went on to be a bona fide 1 zillion% cult classic. We're talking about the Kurt Russell, the late, great Bill Paxton, the incomparable Sam Elliott, and Val Kilmer playing the Earp brothers and Doc Holliday, and the shootout at the OK Corral, the story behind this. I mean, this is a phenomenal, phenomenal film. Just maybe one of my favorite top 10, maybe my top 10 favorite movies. Shah, I'm sure you've seen this at some point in life, but you might not be as obsessed about it as I am.
I've actually never seen this.
Oh, Shah, you'll fall in love.
Never
with
seen it.
movie.
I always thought it was like
Hard.
no, I don't know, man. The poster, whenever I saw it at the video stores, it just never intrigued me.
Oh
But
my God.
is Sam Elliott the same guy in that movie, The Man Who Killed Hitler and Bigfoot?
Yeah, and Roadhouse, Shah. Come on,
Roadhouse,
show
yeah.
put some respect on the name.
Yeah.
Roadhouse. I look at this cast. First of all, that Val Kilmer picture really upsets me. I'm not gonna lie, it makes me really sad. Powers Booth, Jason Presley, Michael Rooker again, Billy
Michael
Zane
Byrne.
again, a very young, thin, emaciated. Oh, Billy Bob Thornton's actually chubby as fuck in this movie.
Yeah.
Thomas Hayden Church, Stephen Lang, Michael Biehn, mostly known for Terminator there. And then you have some real life cowboys. And of course, you guessed it, Frank Stallone.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
You like that, huh? You guessed it, Frank Stallone. B-Show, I'm sure you're a fan of this movie. I'm sure you are.
Possibly one of my top 10 movies of all time.
Easily in my top, maybe my number 10, easily. And by
Yeah.
the way, people in the chat are losing their shit. Kevco said one of the greatest of all time. Dirk is saying Tombstone was great. Buck
Damn.
Taylor, the real Buck Taylor cowboy, he was.
I gotta
he goes
see
back to
this then.
Gunsmoke. Best slow motion scene ever. Tombstone is one of the greatest westerns of all time. Chris Matthews. Shah, when you watch this movie, you need to realize that Val Kilmer did not get nominated for an Academy Award. He starved himself to play Doc Holliday, who was dying of tuberculosis at this stage in his life. This is a legendary, maybe honestly, I'm saying this no shit, maybe one of the greatest acting performances I have ever seen. People are obsessed with this performance, Shah. Kurt Russell is great in everything, but Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday steals this movie literally from everyone. And he's just everything, his voice, his look, his clothes. They gave him jaundice because he's dying of TB. Shah, you need to see this. I think it's on Hulu, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah, I gotta check this out. Everybody's hyping it up, man.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, have you ever
I'm
seen
missed out.
this? Everybody is in this talking about this. B-Show, can you believe looking at this now that at the time, even Val Kilmer, who was a superstar, just completely glanced over for an Academy Award? That's because the movie was not successful.
See, and I love the movie so much.
Oh.
I assumed it was big, so I wouldn't even put it on this list. But
Oh
Jesus
no,
Christ, all the performances, man, just like that.
Yeah,
the
everybody.
wild-eyed Sam
Sam
Elliott.
Elliott.
And
Yeah.
Kurt Russell trying not to give in and go for vengeance, and then finally fucking snaps.
Mhm.
Oh my God! And then
You
even
wanted the
Michael Biehn-
thunder. You called down the thunder. Well, now you got it. Oh my God, dude.
and as the fucking storm's going off, and he's standing in
Yeah,
the center of the
lightning.
town.
Look at
Oh my
them.
God.
Look at them standing behind the fire shot. And they reenact the real OK Corral. They reenact actually what happens. There's been a million movies about it, but nothing quite like this. I don't know how historically accurate it is, and I don't give a fuck. I'll watch this the day you can see his skin, like he's got yellow skin in it. Shot like people obsess over this fucking movie, man. It's a cult classic.
Yeah, I believe it, man. There's a lot of fans in the chat of it.
Yeah, you're no Daisy. Oh, people quoting this forever. I bet you there's
Yeah,
tattoos
Huckleberry.
somewhere. This. Yeah, B-Show. Like, has there been a cooler? I mean, as far as like cool characters go, this has got to be maybe easily top 10 coolest male like quotable movies. Probably, like Goodfellas is quotable. Godfather. Maybe a Kevin Smith movie here or there. But this is a very quote. People just keep quoting this in the chat. We've never had a response like this to a film.
You tell him I'm coming, and hell's coming with me. I love that. And then rides away on the horse or whatever.
Oh my God, I'm your
And they-
Huckleberry.
Oh my God, that movie is so. Why?
Oh,
You
it's
are an
just too
oak.
distracting.
You are an oak. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Shah, it's really one of these like big swinging dick. I mean, this is like a movie like everyone in this movie probably just went home and fucked everyone in sight when they got off things. They all had to grow real mustaches. This was also part of the thing. Like, because a lot of these guys were character actors. Is there anything like Sam Elliott in a cowboy hat and a mustache? This guy looks like he was born. He came out of the vag looking like that, Sam Elliott.
Real mustaches too. It's not CGI. Look at
No,
this.
everybody's mustaches are real. My God. Oh, Brother Dirk, he's got a good one there. You look like somebody walked all over your grave, Johnny Ringo.
Mhm.
Oh my God. Dude, we could do a whole episode of this fucking movie.
Dude, that would be a fun watch along.
That would be Shah, you need to see this, man. It's got everything. It's got it all. Look at this. Powers Booth is a great villain in this too. Great
He's
villains.
awesome.
Yeah, it's got historical accuracy, but I have a feeling if you looked it up, we're going to find out, nah, it's a lot of made up shit. But guys, we're going to cut it short because we have a big Patreon to get to for all of our pals in the old Patreon tonight. We're going to be doing our January Q&A. Yeah, we'll be moving into the 2000s. We'll probably we'll do some dramas. The 90s don't look, we didn't even get to some of the other stuff, but the 90s really had bangers there, guys. It really did.
That's debatable.
Yeah, you really don't think so, huh?
No, I'm not. I'm not a big fan of the '90s.
Not
Comedies
a big
I
fan of
love, man. There were so many good comedies, but
that. What about yeah, I think the comedies might have been the best for that, honestly.
Jacob's Ladder was a good one too. Horror.
Mhm. Yeah, but that's that was actually a pretty successful film. I feel like Jacob's Ladder. Like I do feel like a lot of people. You're a fan of Jacob's Ladder there, B Show?
Familiar with it, never seen it.
Never. What?
It's got Tim
What?
Robbins in it, right?
Yeah, he's the star in it. Danny Aiello. Boy, a lot of the same people popping up in this. How much Frank Stallone's been mentioned more tonight, probably than in any night in this century.
Probably the most since Saturday Night Live, yeah.
Well, Frank Stallone, yeah, since Norm was hosting on Saturday Night Live. But let's get to our friends, our plugs. Let's get to Deathmatch Outlaws. Let's get to the Drew Yarsifer Showsifer, the cassette classics at 86 on YouTube, the Den on the Thundercast, the return of Don Tony and Kevin Castle. Necromaniacs podcast. You want to be checking them out every week. And of course, the Inhuman Experience podcast. Ringsiders returns. I'll be joining them this weekend. Talk a little bit about the Rumble. And thanks everybody for checking me out on Soup last week. That was a lot of fun. Mojo and Dirk's most dastardly show. Of course, the Garden of Doom. And then we have the old guy Metalcast, funkbetty.com. That's our good friend Mr. Anderson's show there. That's our clothing line. You want to go to funkbetty.com, get some clothes. MJW Games. And of course, we have Cherry Jesus on YouTube and his band Kaiser. Our good friend Sam Playing Dead. His band just put out a new EP, and I will be on the Red River podcast next week. Old Man Drape's making the rounds. We're going to be talking a lot of music next week. I'm going to be talking a lot of shit, so you're not going to want to miss it. Of course, we have the Bayou Geeks and Fatty 316, the High Marks podcast, Midnight Mass Creature Cast, the Weekly Detour with Anthony Nelson and Teddy, Guns and Geeks podcast. Shah, anything happening on the old Planet Mondo?
Not yet, but just subscribe. Subscribe, and that way you can be notified whenever stuff goes up. But I got to get stuff up there, man, because I'm going to get demonetized. I haven't, you got 6 months to put stuff up, so
You're kidding.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're gonna get demonetized.
All right. Well, make sure we don't want that to happen, Shah.
Yeah, got to get active again.
Get active, Shah. Get tough acting to acting on that. B Show, what's happening on the B Show Brian channel? You've been a busy beaver.
Whole lot of nothing on B Show Brian, but I want to let everybody know I'm going to be on with Fatty 316 on the Bayou Geeks next Friday. So.
And remind everybody about your Patreon show, B Show, on the free before we head on over to Patreon.
Yeah, if you haven't checked it out, on Patreon, I did a bonus this month. I ran down the whole Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis criminal complaint because, as I mentioned at the top of the show, if you missed it, there was a lot of podcasters early on just talking about surface level stuff from the Wall Street Journal article, and it didn't really give it the gravitas that this really deserves. And honestly, once I read through the whole document, it was not even a joking matter anymore. There's some interesting things that I tie back to old things Vince has done in the past. I kind of speculate on a few things and give you a lot of information that people aren't talking about necessarily publicly, even though it's starting to come out.
You did a phenomenal job, by the way. That was so great, and it was so on the money. And I feel like you've kind of opened the door here, Bisha. I think you might have to stay on this because this is story. We will probably not talk about it too much in detail here, depending on where it goes. But that leaves the door wide open for Patreon. And as we know, we have a lot of wrestling fans on Patreon. So as long as B Show feels like he wants to stay on top of it, this B Show, you might really have inadvertently stepped in it because you're gonna have to probably follow up on this now going forward.
Well, thank you. But like today, John Laurinaitis came out with a public statement, kind of threw Vince under the bus. The attorney,
I was abused. Sorry.
Yeah, he's a victim. Okay,
he's a victim.
And then the attorney for the woman making the complaint was on some news station or made a comment saying that since this came out, her inbox has been flooded with other people coming forward with other stuff. And they're just trying to sift through it and they're overwhelmed. So stay tuned.
Overwhelmed. Yeah.
Buckle the fuck up, guys.
Yeah. Honestly, if this gets off the deep end, I mean, I don't know, B Show, if you want to stick to it, this is going to be your beat. because I think you did such a fantastic job. And I really hope people, if they haven't heard it yet, if you have the Patreon, get on that right away. And please consider going to Patreon to hear this kind of exclusive stuff. But we're heading over to do a Q&A right now. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get that out to you this weekend. We love you guys so much. And we'll be back next week spitting it out on Spitball Media Podcast.